Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. Today we are talking about Yashahime, Season 1, Episode 13, and at least this was a lot better than last episode. I was just having, I was not happy with the past couple of episodes. I just felt like they were a massive filler. They weren't progressing the story. This definitely progressed the story a little bit farther on. We got one of the four perils showing up. We got to see some of Setsuna's new powers, as you can see from the thumbnail. Learn that she has poison blood. And then next episode, we're going to learn about the person who ended up starting the fire that separated Setsuna and Toa in the first place. We get to see a monk. I believe he is from Inuyasha, the show. As I said, I have not watched the original series fully, so I'm unfamiliar with all the characters. I believe he is a character from the original series. He is a monk. Let me see if I can pull up his dad here with the characters. Oh, let's see. Mirako, correct. Yep, so Mirako. He was in the original series. I do remember him briefly helping Inuyasha in Kaigomi. So that is kind of interesting to see him back in there. He is the father of a couple of the newer characters that we have, and he is on a 1,000-day training spree in order to try to get some sort of new divine power. Apparently he had this sort of kind of like black hole-ish type power where he could suck things into it and kill them or transport them somewhere else. I'm not really sure how that power exactly worked, but what we do know happened is that him and his son kind of had a falling out. His son thinks he's a coward. He's running away all the time, even though he is supporting his family. And apparently his wife and his daughter don't seem to think badly of him, only his son does. So not sure how that plays out. Mora wasn't really a big part of this episode. She was sent to guard some monks, where she met up with a couple of other demon slayers. But Setsuna and Toa ended up fighting one of the four perils, so that didn't really play out. This peril kind of reminds me of like a giant crocodile alligator thing. He has armor on as well. That reminds me of the other peril that we faced in the previous episodes. And he has this ability to kind of suck things in and spit things out. He loves eating humans and people of high value. Again, he's going after monks. That's the whole thing, is why everybody's guarding all the monks. Why he goes after Miraku, which is the character in the previous series, from my understanding. That's why he went after him, because he went after virtuous monks. I guess he's a virtuous monk, and he wanted to eat him because they taste good for whatever reason. We get the beginning of the episode with him actually eating a monk and saying, oh, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't really that filling. And I was like, oh, great. We got a demon that's going around eating people. So we still got two of the four perils we need to kill. He also has a rainbow pearl as well. I think his is yellow. It looks kind of gold, so there might be multiple gold pearls. I'm not really sure how the whole pearls situation works. But all the four perils have a pearl. That much we do know. Makes them stronger, harder to kill. He does end up escaping. He kind of has a similar ability to the other more human-looking peril, where he can create this kind of cloud thing that he can fly on. It almost looks like a dark flying Nimbus, if you're familiar with Dragon Ball. Goku on the flying Nimbus, and he can fly away rather quickly. He ends up escaping, so they still need to kill him. Obviously, we have two more perils that need to die. Most likely, there is going to be a Season 2, from what I am gathering. From what I've seen, apparently, even with me not liking the past couple of episodes, it is doing semi-well in Japan. I don't know what that means for the rest of the world, or what that means for manga in general, because typically, if it does really good in Japan, they'll push it over to the US for the dub. I know, although it seems more likely with Crunchyroll, everything along those lines, that the dub and the sub is almost being released at the same exact time, or maybe 5 episodes behind one another. I can see it getting more subs. I don't know if I'll see it getting more dubs, because it doesn't seem like it's doing that hot in the States right now. I'm not 100% positive how it's doing in Japan, but there's really not a lot of people talking about it. Every time I go to the Reddit, the anime Reddit, r/anime, you don't see a lot of comments. There's usually not more than 100 comments, as opposed to I go into something like Jujutsu Kaisen, and boom, there's like 700 comments in it. So, I mean, that kind of tells you how the popularity right there isn't that great, at least among that specific community. Obviously, there's people that aren't part of the Reddit community that don't have access to that or just choose not to use it, so that makes sense as well. Moving on to the episode, Setsuna apparently has a seal in place that kind of stops her from going full demon. She has poisonous blood, which is interesting. She kind of reminds me of like Inuyasha, because I think we've seen Inuyasha go full demoned once or twice in the show, if I remember correctly. And she just, she's got the pointy teeth, she's got the markings on her face, she's got the claws, markings on her arms, probably other parts of her body. Obviously, she's covered up for the most part, so we can't really see that. No tail or anything popping out anywhere along those lines. But she is definitely more powerful with that. The peril actually ends up biting into her arm and getting poisoned, and that's why he ends up running away, because he realizes he's not gonna win that fight at the moment. And then Miraku ends up resealing her, because it's hard for her to control. So that's why she has the seal in place. So she's actually more powerful than we realize. She actually looks a little different than we realize. She's not fully tapping into that demon energy, or she might even not be using the demon energy at all, which is also a possibility. It also leads us to believe that Toa may also have the same ability and be able to tap in that at some point in time. She hasn't used it yet. She's definitely used some of her demon energy, as we can see with the sword she uses. But not exactly 100% sure how that whole situation plays out. I mean, it wasn't a bad episode overall. Fighting was definitely good. You got to see some old characters. You got to see a lot of characters throughout this series that are actually important. Poor Mora doesn't get a bounty again. She's so sad. I feel bad for her. She hasn't gotten some money in a while, but she got paid either way for doing this job as being a bodyguard. So that works for her. Toa and Setsuna kind of bonded a little bit. And then, of course, Setsuna has to give her the cold shoulder. Setsuna apparently doesn't really remember Miraku. I'm not really sure why. Probably because of the whole dream butterfly. I'm guessing he met her and did the whole seal thing when she was very young, so she doesn't really remember. She probably knows about the seal ability, but apparently only a monk has the ability to unseal her as well. So that's interesting to see. Maybe she has the ability to break that seal once she's able to master those powers, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Not really sure how long this series is going to be. I can definitely see an additional 14 episodes, because 2 of the perils at this point are dead. I stand corrected in the previous review. I thought pretty much none of them were, but you got to remember, Mora did pretty much defeat one by herself. We defeated the snake-like woman as well. She is gone, I believe. I wasn't sure if she was gone or injured. I couldn't fully remember, but I believe 2 of them are deceased based on the wiki, and we have 2 left to kill, which isn't going to happen this season, so most likely something we're going to see next season. Will it get more than another season? I'm not sure, because they could very easily kill the 2 of the 4 perils off right away. The one that's more human looking definitely seems more dangerous, so it might require a while for him to actually get killed. But the one that we just recently met, I think he is probably going to die fairly soon. I'm not sure. He escaped, so I don't really know how that's going to work. Eventually, he's going to go find a monk and eat a monk again. So that's going to cause a problem. Demon Slayers are going to go out and try to kill him, etc. So that's how that is going to play out. But I mean, it depends on how long they want to drag it on, because I definitely felt like they could have probably killed all 4 of them this season fairly easily. There was definitely like 3 or 4 of the episodes this season definitely felt very fillerish to me. Wasn't a fan, gave them a very low rating. I think I gave the last one a 4 out of 10. This one, rating-wise, we're going to go with a 7 out of 10. Definitely not the best, definitely not the worst. Decent fighting, decent action. You got a little bit of more information about Setsuna, but at the same time, nothing really happened. All that really happened was we got some more information about Setsuna. We finally met the last peril. Yes, there were some nice throwbacks to the original Inuyasha series, which I'm sure that fans of Inuyasha are loving that and eating it up right now, which is probably why it has more popularity in Japan, because that's where it really originated. and possibly in the U.S. as well, because Inuyasha was one of the first anime, alongside Dragon Ball Z, to get people actually into anime. So it makes sense that a lot of people are watching it for the nostalgia reasons, as opposed to newer people watching it because you don't have the backstory, as I don't. So maybe after I finish the season, if I get some spare time, I'll dip into Inuyasha and rewatch it, and maybe I'll like it better. That is definitely a possibility, but as of right now, it's just kind of an okay show. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Did not like the last episode at all, but it's not bad overall. Like as of right now, probably if I rated the entire show, I would probably give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. We'll probably say a 6. Something that's definitely watchable. It's not bad. The storyline is decent. The characters are good. Character development is decent, but it's not something that I'm gonna like, yes, I need to watch that over and over and over and over again. I need to talk about that all the time. So like My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Akudama Drive, especially this week. Akudama Drive this week was beautiful. If you're not familiar with that show, take a look. Highly recommend that one. I'm getting that one overall gets probably a 9 out of 10 or close to a 10 out of 10. Just so you know, for my ranking, everybody's gonna be like, oh, of course you got to go for the shonen anime. That's a 10 out of 10. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Those two are pretty much my 10 out of 10. Just so you know where I am ranking system wise. I think that pretty much sums up this episode. 7 out of 10, pretty decent episode. Got some good information. Now we all know we all know what all 4 of the perils are, what they look like. There's 2 left. Then we got to go on to the big honcho himself or herself, and then Shamaru is probably going to show up at some point in time. Haven't seen him really at all this season. Haven't really seen, the main characters. That's kind of what's surprising me, is you'd think they'd be gripping on to the main characters more, and they're really not. And some people like that, some people don't like that. It all kind of depends on the person. I think they should have thrown more of that nostalgia in there, but at the same time, I understand because of how big the gap is that you don't fully want to, because if you do that, then it's going to cause problems because nobody knows what is going on because they never watched the original series, like this guy right here. So my name is Steve Gray. If you watched this entire video and you liked it, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, comment down below what you'd like me to do for future anime and cartoon related videos. As always, thank you for watching, and have a good one.